Hello, today we're going to take a little look at Dance of the Mirlitons. This is found in the book Winner Scores All by Peter Lawrence. Dance of the Mirlitons, you may notice on your copy of the music it says from the Nutcracker. The Nutcracker is a ballet that was written by Tchaikovsky back in the 1890s. It's a very famous ballet. It's probably Tchaikovsky's most famous work. It's very, very popular. Lots of the pieces you find on TV. You may well even recognise this tune from TV. There's lots of other famous dances and tunes from the ballet that you'd probably recognise. A mirliton is a sweet. It's a type of French cake. At this point in the ballet, the main character, Clara, she's in the land of sweets, and there are all sorts of sweets and tasty things being paraded in front of her. And this is when the mirlitons, these small French cakes, are being processed in front of her. So let's take a little look at this piece. First thing, we always do this. Every time we play a piece of music, you've got to check the key signature. If you look closely, we have an F sharp. So every time you have an F in this piece of music, it's going to be a sharp. Second valve. Remember to do that every time. We're in 4/4, so 4 beats in a bar. We've also got the tempo marking of moderato, which means moderately. So we don't go too fast. It's nice and steady. Dynamics, well, we're quiet at the start. We've got piano. We've got a little crescendo here. Don't come up too much. We probably only want to come up to about mezzo piano. This note, this needs to be nice and big. We've got sforzando there. Just hit the note a little harder, but it needs to be broad too because we've got that tenuto there. Mezzo forte, quite loud. Drop down straight away to piano though. Keep going. We've got another forte here. But again, on that note, you hit that note nice and loud, but we come away right down to piano in this next bar here. We've got a little crescendo here. Another diminuendo. We've got another sforzando, so make sure you bring that note out. They're just kind of like little accents, really. But it needs to be broad because you've got that line, that tenuto. Mezzo forte again. Piano with a crescendo right up to forte. So there's quite a few little dynamic markings that we need to look out for in this piece. Another very important thing in this piece is the articulation, how we use our tongues. At the start, if you look in this bar here, we've got some little dots under these notes. That means staccato. Now, lots of people are going to tell you staccato means short, and they're right, but they're wrong. I want you to think of staccato as detached. Don't make them too short. They need to be detached from one another. We don't want them pecked. But they do need to be a little shorter. There does need to be some, you could describe it as daylight between each note. Ba, 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 ba. That needs to be full length, and the composer really does want that full length with that tenuto there. Same thing here. We've got some more staccatos. Generally, every time we get these quaver passages, we've got staccatos. Sometimes they're even on the crotchets as well. And when you see them on these crotchets, you can just make these crotchets a little shorter. Not as short as the quavers, but so that there's just a tiny little gap in between each note, a little bit of daylight. But not too big a gap because you've got to stay in time, remember. We've also got these ticks. If you're confused about the ticks, they're just places that you can breathe if you'd like to. They're good places to breathe. You could take a quick breath in any of those places. Tricky bits in this piece. This is a little bit tricky. The first part isn't. We're just going C, B, C, B. That's nice and simple. This bit could be a little bit tricky. There's a lot to take in here because our articulation is different on nearly every note. We've got to tongue this first note, and then we slur the second note, tia, and then we've got 2 staccatos there. So they've got to be nice and short. And we've got a diminuendo, so there's a lot to take on there. But the most important thing, if you're struggling with this bit, get the rhythm right first of all. Just practice nice and slowly. A, G, D, B. Ba, 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 ba. If you're struggling on that bit. just nice and slowly, build it up, get a little bit quicker as you get more confident, and then put the articulation in. Ti-a, ta, ta. Then, once you can do that, and with this, then you can start thinking about the dynamics. Moving on, same thing. That's nice and simple. All G's, all nice and short, remember, with staccatos. If you're struggling with this bit, just nice and slowly. Don't go too fast. It's really important to practice things slowly that we're struggling with. Ba, 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 G, F sharp, A, G. That's a bit like a scale, so hopefully that's nice and simple. But again, if you're struggling, just slowly. Practice everything slowly. Nice accent on this high note. We're on a high C, so we need lots of fast air and tight corners. This is the same as up here. So just practice that slowly if you're struggling with it. The general feel of the piece, it needs to be quite light. It's a dance. So again, stressing the articulation, everything needs to be nice and light. Staccatos, make sure they're a little more detached, a little shorter.